Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 19 based on novel. So let's start. In the void, Luo Jin and Yunlang stood in the air. Luo Jin spit out a mouthful of blood. The broken sleeve robe wiped on his mouth and wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth. Staring at the opposite Yunlang with hate in his eyes, Luo Jin raised his right hand towards Yunlang and made a contemptuous gesture. Such disdain naturally angered Yunlang. Since he became emperor, no one in Lianyun Mountain has dared to treat him with such an attitude. Today's Xiaoyang and Luo Jin can be said to make him face repeatedly. How can he not be angry? With a long roar, Yunlang suddenly disappeared in place. When the belt appeared again, he appeared in front of Luo Jin, clenched his right fist, and blasted at Luo Jin's face. For this sudden blow, Luo Jin's face changed greatly. His heart was tight for a moment, and his heart stopped for a moment. However, Luo Jin is not an ordinary friar. Although he can't beat the clouds and waves, he has time to do some defense. The few fighting spirits in the body gushed out and quickly condensed in front of the body into a thick circular shield to resist the attack of cloud and wave. But Luo Jin obviously underestimated Yunlang's strength. Although Yunlang's strength has decreased by 50% after several fierce battles, the 8-star-and-a-half emperor is so easy to deal with. Even if it is only 50% of his strength, Luo Jin can't resist it. Seeing the thin fighting spirit gushing from Luo Jin's body, Yunlang couldn't help laughing at the corners of his mouth. He was shocked. The fighting spirit under his fist quickly condensed into substance on his fist and wrapped the whole fist in it. Its power can be called shocking. It tears the void in a minute. The strong wind makes the air send out bursts of harsh sonic booms. The world where the fist wind passes trembles, the void is broken, and the whole world trembles for this fist. Bang! There was no strong fighting skill, only a simple punch, but when it touched the fighting shield, the almost real fighting shield burst like destruction, and Luo Jin's final defense was useless. When the defense is broken, the speed of Yunlang's powerful fist is not reduced at all. One fist is to rush to Luo Jin's face. If this fist goes on, Luo Jin will die. At the moment, Luo Jin's heart calmed down. Although he contacted Xiaoyang soon, he could see that the reason why Xiaoyang wanted to repair Shenchong ruler was mixed with many reasons. And it is precisely because of this that he has worked hard to support Xiaoyang. Up to now, he values friendship, has unique talent and divine fire. Such a person will have a place in Yuanwu mainland sooner or later. Oh, brother Rock Owl, goodbye. With a sad smile, Luo Jin lightly closed his eyes and waited for the arrival of Yunlang's blow. Whoosh dash. Between heaven and earth, a thunderous sound suddenly sounded. Suddenly, the dark clouds changed color and the thunderclouds rolled, and a fierce storm swept the world in an instant. Yunlang's fist, which was only a minute away from Luo Jin's face, was also empty under the thunder, which made the space in front of him burst into pieces. Well, this breath is the human just now. With a punch, Yunlang's eyebrows could not help but wrinkle slightly. Under the exploration of his powerful soul power, the man was Xiaoyang who sneaked into his cave. Xiaoyang propped Luo Jin in one hand and put a pill into his mouth. He found another bluestone and let it lean aside. Luo Jin woke up with a simple look of Xiaoyang and suddenly turned happy. Although he was still very weak, he also knew that the war situation was urgent at the moment and had no time to say more. He just whispered in a hoarse voice. Brother Yang Xiao, it's not suitable to stay here for a long time. You'd better leave first. You can't fight the split cloud wolf alone. Xiaoyang couldn't help but be stunned when he heard the speech. He thought he didn't find something to save him first. However, although he thought so, he was more moved by Luo Jin's words. With a slight smile, Luo Jin let go of his heart and told him to wait for him in place. With a flash of body shape, Xiaoyang had already flashed to 100 feet in front of Yunlang. You human beings are really looking for death. How dare you steal my cloud wave treasure? I won't tear you up today. Die for me. Xiaoyang laughed back when he heard the speech. He put his arms around his chest and sneered with sarcasm. Your things, hey, the things of heaven and earth are naturally raised. How can they become your things? In addition, heaven and earth treasures are inhabited by capable people. Since you don't use them, I'm not to blame. Hearing Xiaoyang's words, Yunlang was even more angry. He couldn't help laughing. Good. What a capable person to live in, what a sharp-mouthed human being. Today I want to see how much ability you have to deserve this day's Q demon flower. Before the voice fell, Yunlang's men turned. The fighting spirit in the body immediately gushed out of the body and gathered between the palms. Around Yunlang's body, the surging fighting spirit is also like a wave. Taking Yunlang as the center, the world is also covered by this wave. As soon as Yunlang lifted his right hand, the pure fighting spirit in the palm condensed rapidly. Just for a moment, a green bead condensed by fighting spirit appeared in the palm of Yunlang, and then Yunlang slapped it down with a palm. Waves everywhere. With a slap, the spreading tide of fighting was suddenly frozen, as if it had been forcibly prohibited by time, but then a bright light spread like lightning from the palm of Yunlang. Boom! Where the light passes, the heaven and earth disappear, the sun has no light, and the empty space collapses in an instant, but even so, it is only the aftereffect of the outbreak of this fighting skill. Xiaoyang was surprised when he saw this in his eyes. The power of this fighting skill was so powerful. Dare not belittle. Xiaoyang's fighting spirit was raised rapidly, and his right palm was suddenly grasped. All the fighting spirit was gathered between the palms. As soon as the eyes turned, the light in the depths of the eyes flashed, and the power of different fire in the body burst out. Within the body, Hui's body sitting in the cyclone of Xiaoyang suddenly burst out a burst of dazzling light, and then roared, which was integrated with Xiaoyang. Drink! With a violent drink, Xiaoyang slowly loosened his clenched palm, and a little lacquer black dot the size of his thumb appeared in Xiaoyang's palm. His body suddenly shook. In an instant, Xiaoyang had forcibly broken through the fighting skill of Yunlang and came to Yunlang. Seeing this, Yunlang gave a sneer, and printed the formula in his left hand quickly, followed by a wolf roar from his mouth, which is the roar of Dongshan. Roar dash. Dongshan roar, with the same power, naturally calmed Xiaoyang with one blow. In the absence of God, Xiaoyang is already equivalent to fish on the chopping board. Let Yunlang kill him. Now, Yunlang is able to control part of heaven and earth to help himself. Such means are really rare. Being able to control a part of heaven and earth in the half-emperor's territory is impossible if you don't have enough talent to be surprised. We can see the real strength of the split cloud wolf. Quietly, when the shield in front of Yunlang was just formed, the lacquer black energy column about Zhongshu wide also collided with it. Silence, between heaven and earth, even the shua sound of the wind blowing leaves also disappeared. The whole world returned to silence, just like the birth of chaos. You can't feel the breath of life, and there are no traces of death. Some are just a nothingness like silence. When the two touch each other, heaven and earth are surprised. The power is so powerful that even heaven and earth dare not produce the slightest disturbance. Xiaoyang poured all his fighting qi into the palm. The light in the palm flashed, and the gorgeous fire plate expanded again. The black energy light column also soared with it. The powerful and terrible power suddenly broke out and eroded towards the shield. At the junction of Buddha Nu reincarnation and the shield, a terrible tearing force is competing with each other. The black light column continues to decompose and disperse the energy of heaven and earth on the shield, and then it is swallowed by the light column and turned into one of the nutrients. The shield is also trying its best to devour the power of heaven and earth in this side of heaven and earth. The powerful tearing force turns all the energy of heaven and earth within 1,000 feet into a pure energy droplet, which is suspended above the shield to supplement the shield and resist the reincarnation of Buddha anger. With the help of heaven and earth energy, Yunlang is naturally very relaxed. Although it seems passive, it has always looked at Xiaoyang with a smile in the eyes of watching the play. It seems that he has seen victory waving to him. In this way, Xiaoyang's breath finally became weaker and weaker. The weakness in his body made him feel dizzy, but the strong soul force was still supporting him. The palm of Xiaoyang's left hand, which had been idle for a long time, turned over, and a jade bottle appeared in the palm of Xiaoyang's hand. A handful of the jade bottle was pinched and exploded, and more than 10 Jopin Huichi pills appeared in the palm of Xiaoyang's hand. Without hesitation, Xiaoyang stuffed it into his mouth. In a moment, the surging pure fighting spirit poured into Xiaoyang's cyclone like a sea tide, and the exhausted fighting spirit was finally restored. On the other side, Yunlang's eyebrows were also slightly raised when he saw this scene, and then he turned into fierce. All his fighting qi poured out and controlled the shield in front of him. He was also very clear in his heart. As long as he could resist Xiaoyang's move, he would be the last winner. Looking at Xiaoyang again, although there is a supplement to the pill, after all, it is only a 9-grade qi recovery pill. Even if it is more, it is still a drop in the bucket for Xiaoyang now. In an instant, the little fighting spirit that has just recovered disappears again, which makes Xiaoyang feel some emotion. I'm afraid I have to find some imperial elixir to use. Now this strength depends on 9 elixir alone. Sure enough, it's still far from enough. His eyes narrowed slightly. Xiaoyang stared at the clouds and waves in the opposite shield. They looked at each other with 4 eyes. The space was suddenly distorted and trembled. Even if the semi-emperor strong man didn't have to fight, just one look could cause space changes. The semi-emperor strong man was really good. He was so strong. With a sneer, the momentum of clouds and waves soared, and the powerful soul power exploded. The soul power with the strength of 8.5 emperors is just a threat, which annihilates all the momentum of Xiaoyang. Such strength is worthy of being the strength of 8.5 emperors. When Xiaoyang saw this, his original dignified face eased a lot in an instant, and a joking smile came up at the corners of his mouth. If it is to compete with Xiaoyang, this may make him dignified. If he wants to compete for soul power, Xiaoyang can only laugh it off. It's like a thin man looking for a giant to break his wrist. It's self-evident how the victory or defeat is. When the soul power of Yunlang was pressed strongly against Xiaoyang, Xiaoyang was not afraid at all. The soul power in his body was like the water of the Yellow River. In an instant, it condensed into a towering hand over Xiaoyang's head. With Xiaoyang's heart moving, the huge palm that covered the sky and blocked the sun came out in an instant and met with the soul power of Yunlang. The soul power of the herbalist is terrible. Although Yunlang is an 8.5-star emperor, his soul power has just been promoted to the soul of the empire, while Xiaoyang entered the soul of the empire as early as 10 years ago. We can imagine the gap. No. This human soul power has been in the empire for many years. I can't compete with it. When Yunlang saw Lingtian's huge palm, he was also surprised. His face suddenly changed, and the light of fear flowed in the depths of his pupils. When his heart moved, he wanted to recover the power of his soul quickly. The changed look on Yunlang's face was also included in Xiaoyang's eyes. A sneer was raised at the corners of his mouth, and the look in his eyes suddenly became fierce. Now I want to retreat. Do you think it's possible? Emperor Realm Soul Skill, Towering Hand. Towering Hand, this is a soul summoning skill that Xiaoyang found from the endless scrolls left by the ancient Emperor Tuorsha. It is the top soul skill in the whole fighting spirit continent. Xiaoyang also knows it. This Towering Hand is also very useful to Xiaoyang. Now, once it is used, its power is also quite amazing. With a sneer, the yin formula in Xiaoyang's left hand changed rapidly. In an instant, Lingtian's huge palm moved according to Xiaoyang's mind and grasped Yunlang's mighty soul force like waves. Yunlang was also like the soul was hit hard. His white and thin face was distorted in an instant, which looked terrible. Yunlang suddenly clenched his palms to resist the heart-piercing pain from the soul, but he didn't forget to control the shield in front of him to avoid being taken advantage of by Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang's mouth was tickled. This cloud wave is not stupid. It is more clear before life and death. No wonder he can become the overlord of Lianyun Mountain. With the soul restraint, Xiaoyang naturally relaxed a little. Coupled with the mountain reserve of Huichi Pill, it was stable a little in a short time. Yunlang is also the overlord of this party. He is full of pride in his heart. How can he be willing to be made by Xiaoyang? He is cruel in his heart. His muscles are as tight as steel, his teeth are clenched, and his eyes instantly become scarlet. With a sneer, Yunlang's palm has turned into a huge wolf claw. He grabs Xiaoyang's head hard. If he grabs it with one claw, Xiaoyang will die. Boom. When Yunlang's wolf claw was about to hit Xiaoyang's head, Xiaoyang's right palm hit his chest first. Before the palm was finished, Xiaoyang hit Yunlang's chest again and blew it thousands of miles away. Looking at Xiaoyang again, at the moment, in the depths of his pupils is a pink and strange lotus. There is a milky white flame beating on the lotus, which looks quite strange. The lotus flower disappeared, Xiaoyang's empty look returned to Qingming again, gently shook his still dizzy head, and looked down at the scars left by the waves all over the world. Xiaoyang couldn't help shivering. He tried his best to defend with the power of different fire, but he still couldn't resist it. Under the roar of the cave mountain, Xiaoyang was lost by the town. However, Xiaoyang's loss of consciousness does not mean that Huori was also photographed by the town. With Huori controlling his body, the great heaven creation palm in his palm naturally bombarded Yunlang. Roar. The curfew broke through the 3-star semi-emperor with the help of Qianqiu demon flower, but even so, you can't escape death today. And the guy in you, come out. Without giving Xiaoyang the chance to respond, the cloud wave suddenly appeared in front of Xiaoyang from the horizon. As soon as he shook his body, it turned into a body, and the huge wolf claws grabbed at Xiaoyang's head. Xiaoyang's face suddenly changed, and his body flashed to avoid the attack. Without Xiaoyang's reaction, the attack of Split Cloud Wolf came again. Xiaoyang's steps are constantly changing, and Tianjua's steps are displayed repeatedly. A huge warcraft can be seen in the distance. Bursts of sonic booms reverberate between heaven and earth. Occasionally, the fierce power will explode a mountain. So repeatedly, the two also fought each other for 700 rounds. After Xiaoyang broke through, the thunder and lightning terror speed made Yunlang, the 8.5-star emperor, feel a headache. The two came and went, and they were even in a tie. But in the feint, there is something brewing in Xiaoyang's sleeve robe. It can bloom completely only when Xiaoyang reads it in his heart. The fire in the body is separated and transformed in the palm, and finally turns into a mysterious heavy ruler. The huge ruler of fire burns the sky with a burning breath. When the Split Cloud Wolf attacked with one claw, Xiaoyang also met it with one foot. The moves between the two are open and close. Although Xiaoyang's strength is not as strong as that of the Split Cloud Wolf, he has the forced suppression of different fire, which is also inseparable. This is a war of attrition, and persistence will be the main factor in the final battle. Xiaoyang's body suddenly flashed in the battle, and the stable war situation was smashed by Xiaoyang's natural action. The flame devours the wave ruler. With a violent drink, the giant ruler of flame in his hand cut his soul horizontally in front of him. A gorgeous huge wave of flame fiercely shot out from the end of the ruler and bombarded the Split Cloud Wolf. Seeing that the complexion remained unchanged, the Split Cloud Wolf split a pair of extremely sharp wolf claws across the air, and a forked fighting spirit hit out rapidly, bombarding the chamber with the flame swallow wave ruler. Boom! With a burst of explosion, a burst of fierce and hot flame and air waves suddenly spread, and both Xiaoyang and Split Cloud Wolf were submerged. It can be imagined how powerful the explosion is. When the flame and air waves swept the world, the air waves in front of Xiaoyang did instantly separate the two sides, and a dark mysterious light column fiercely shot out and blasted at the huge body of the opposite Split Cloud Wolf. The painted black light column seems ordinary, but where it passes, the space collapses quietly, that is, even the endless void is submerged and swallowed by it. This seemingly random blow will instantly subvert the whole war situation. This scene, even Luo Jin, who was resting on the bluestone, couldn't help but move his eyes. Then the pale look on his face suddenly changed into surprise. In general, naturally, there was the Crack Cloud Wolf standing in front of Xiaoyang. Luo Jin rolled his throat hard, his dry lips tilted slightly, and exclaimed in surprise. What kind of fighting skill can swallow the void? The lacquered black energy column broke through the void at random. In just a moment, it came to the huge body of Yunlang. Yunlang naturally doesn't dare to despise this. Human-level fighting skills are not fun. Even with the strength of his 8.5-star emperor, he has to face it wholeheartedly. As soon as the huge body turns, it has turned into a human shape again. Only in this state can he make the fastest response. Yunlang knows that there is no way to avoid this attack, but to fight. Yunlang looked at the approaching black light column, and his eyelids trembled slightly, revealing the restlessness in his heart. Under the black light column, he felt a strong and extremely destructive force. The strength of this force is difficult to control even in this world. Is this another human-level fighting skill? I don't think you have enough fighting spirit in your body, but you still want to kill me with a blow of human-level fighting skill. It's really a fool's dream. Before the voice fell, Yunlang raised his hands, and the printing formula between his fingers changed rapidly. Mysterious printing formulas were played one by one in his hands, and the space in front of him was also distorted and transformed. The seemingly invisible space has become the most terrible defense at this moment. All the fighting spirit left in Yunlang's body poured out and gathered in the palm of Yunlang's hand. His body also became empty in an instant, and a feeling of collapse and weakness spread over his heart. In this regard, Yunlang ignored it in the slightest. He clapped it and bombarded the space in front of him. The fighting spirit between the palms seemed to find the pouring point, and the whole void was filled in an instant. In an instant, a spherical air shield appeared around Yunlang's body to cover Yunlang, but it's not over yet. The shield is actually absorbing the energy of heaven and earth between heaven and earth for its own use. Tiangang guard. Seeing this, Xiaoyang's pale face suddenly showed a touch of surprise. He also had a new view on Yunlang's strength. At the moment, he really showed all his strength. It's not surprising that the body of a half-emperor controls heaven and earth for itself, but this is ultimately the source of martial mainland. The power of rules is different from that of fighting spirit mainland. If you want to control heaven and earth freely, You still need the strength of fighting Emperor territory. The mind suddenly moved. In a complete roar, the connection between Yunlang and the power of that part of the soul was finally forcibly cut off. Roar. Damn human, die. Sirius roars the moon, roar. With a roar, the clouds and waves turned into the body and roared up to the sky. Suddenly, the heaven and earth changed color. The bright day also turned into a dark in an instant. A bright moon stood in the sky, and the slightest cold light shone on the heaven and earth. In the dark, there was a silver-white giant wolf standing behind the split cloud wolf, and the smell of terror spread from the split cloud wolf, let Xiaoyang's face change in an instant. Even Luo Jin on the ground, his face is dignified at the moment, and he can almost twist out of the water. This split cloud wolf has the talent and magic power of the Sirius family of Xiaoye, Sirius Xiaoye. It's troublesome. Brother Yang's fighting spirit is weak at this time. It's very difficult to defeat the split cloud wolf. The split cloud wolf has the help of this round of bright moon. The speed of restoring fighting spirit is determined to be unmatched by Brother Yang. I'm afraid this battle will be dangerous. Luo Jin obviously knows more about the move of splitting cloud wolf, but even so, he has no way in his heart. Although Luo Jin also knows a little about the Sirius roaring moon, he is only one-sided and has no way at all. Moreover, he is seriously injured at the moment and can't help Xiaoyang at all. If he goes up forcibly, I'm afraid he won't help Xiaoyang, but will become a burden to Xiaoyang. Although he was helpless in his heart, Luo Jin still told Xiaoyang what he knew with a voice. Xiaoyang was grateful for it. Although he didn't know how to deal with it, he also had a bottom in his heart. He could let go if he started. Xiaoyang felt the gradually recovering breath of the split cloud wolf. He couldn't help tightening his heart. If he continued like this, I'm afraid the split cloud wolf would really stick to the end. However, the supply of pills is still too little after all. The half-emperor's body can't afford Jopine pills anyway. His eyes twinkled slightly. Although he was reluctant to give up in his heart, it was the situation. If he didn't use it, I'm afraid Xiaoyang would fall here today. The tug-of-war between Buddha's anger reincarnation and Tiangong's guard is still going on, but Xiaoyang's mind is moving. The fire seal at the center of his eyebrow flickers, and then a black flame flies out of Xiaoyang's eyebrow and falls into Xiaoyang's palm. Once the lacquer black flame appeared, a terrible suction spread from around it. All the media between heaven and earth moved with it, which was forcibly sucked and pulled over, and then flashed slightly on the surface of the flame and disappeared. When Luo Jin saw the flame for the first time, his tense and dignified face changed again, and the look of the flame in Xiaoyang's hand also turned into a strong shock. This is different fire. This is the second in the list of different fire. Nothingness swallowing inflammation. Nothingness swallowing inflammation is the second contrary existence in the different fire list, but he never thought that such a powerful independent existence would be in Xiaoyang's body. If it was spread, I'm afraid the whole continent would be a sensation. No. Although this strange fire has the breath of nothingness and swallowing inflammation, the momentum of the flame and the power of swallowing are far from swallowing heaven and earth. Looking at the nothingness swallowing inflammation in Xiaoyang's hand in the sky, Luo Jin raised a doubt in his heart. This group of nothingness swallowing inflammation is definitely not the source of different fire. At this point, Luo Jin's eyes looking at Xiaoyang changed wildly again. His eyes stared at Xiaoyang, and his expression was full of endless surprise. This flame. This flame is. It is an original fire of nothingness swallowing inflammation. You know, if Xiaoyang can swallow nothingness completely, it can only show that Xiaoyang has extraordinary talent and is willing to follow such things against the sky. But now this strange fire is just a wisp of original fire of nothingness swallowing Yang's Numenon. Although its power is much different from that of the Numenon, if Xiaoyang obtains it from the Numenon by his own strength, it is really enough to calm people's soul. Nothingness swallowing inflammation is the second in the list of different fires. How can he allow his original fire to be occupied by others, but Xiaoyang can get this trace? How can it not be shocking? The power of nothingness swallowing inflammation is very clear to the whole continent. Xiaoyang's desire to forcibly obtain it is simply whimsical. Now, Xiaoyang has really taken out a trace of the original fire of nothingness swallowing inflammation, which shows that Xiaoyang has a terrible talent to let nothingness swallowing inflammation give up. And the same suspicious and uncertain, there is the crack cloud wolf standing in front of Xiaoyang. Its pair of blood-colored eyes the size of a copper bell have been staring at the flame since Xiaoyang sacrificed the painted black flame. In the seemingly insignificant flame, it felt an extremely terrible power, which was enough to destroy the world. Xiaoyang stood on the void in front of him, but he thought of the black yang that disappeared from the sky. That guy, Jiu Laro said he would get a fortune. I don't know how he is at the moment, but I think he's better than me, haha. With a sigh in his heart, Xiaoyang focused his attention on the nothingness swallowing inflammation in front of him. Although he was reluctant to give up, there was no other way to deal with the current situation. The powerful and unrivaled soul power enters the source of different fire like fairy silk. In front of Xiaoyang at the moment, it is like nothing. The power of the soul poured into the strange fire and quickly found the trace of soul mark left in the past. After a little hesitation, my heart moved. The soul mark dissipated slowly under Xiaoyang's gaze. Although this scene is not in the eyes of Split Cloud Wolf and Luo Jin, they can probably guess one or two through the change of the breath of different fire. Xiaoyang unexpectedly cut off the connection with nothingness swallowing inflammation in his hand. Shit. This guy, is he crazy? That's nothingness swallowing inflammation. How can he bear to let go? At this moment, even Luo Jin couldn't help but burst out a dirty word in his heart. Xiaoyang's behavior is really enough to hit people. Bang! With a dull sound, Xiaoyang's soul force naturally withdrew, while the nothingness swallowing inflammation in his hand suddenly burst out. A sense of burning the sky filled the whole sky in an instant, and the endless void suddenly became distorted. Luo Jin also instantly felt as if he had been thrown into the stove at this moment. The skin on his body surface quickly became red, so he had to quickly mobilize a few fighting spirit in his body to resist it. The power of different fire is so powerful that it is only 1/10 of the noumenon. It can lead to the abnormal state of heaven and earth. Such a power can be called terror. When Xiaoyang cut off the connection with the different fire in his palm, thousands of miles away, there was a dark mysterious space. A black figure with dark flame burning all over and mysterious runes painted on the body surface suddenly opened his lightly closed eyes and looked in the direction of Xiaoyang at the moment. Did he cut off the connection with me? In this way, there will be a lot of trouble in the future. But it's good. Let me see if Yang Emperor can make me bow my head. Judging from his words, this person is the Black Yang who disappeared in the sky immediately after he became emperor that day. Once the connection with nothingness swallowing inflammation was cut off, the power of different fire also completely broke out. The endless swallowing power, even the nothingness, was swallowed and turned into a dark nothingness. Xiaoyang has controlled the origin of this strange fire for many years. Even if he cuts off the connection now, he is still beating in Xiaoyang's palm. The fighting spirit between Xiaoyang's palms suddenly emerged, and half of the already small fighting spirit in his body was injected into different fire by Xiaoyang. With the support of Xiaoyang's fighting spirit, nothingness swallowing inflammation burns more violently, and the whole world becomes hot and dry in an instant. On the earth, the original green grass leaves and trees turn into a pile of powder in an instant. Between heaven and earth, wisps of naked eye visible heaven and earth energy, like being guided by something, gathered madly towards the nothingness swallowing inflammation in Xiaoyang's palm. Huiyi, I'll leave it to you. Xiaoyang said to Huiyi in his heart, and then put his energy on the Buddha anger reincarnation in his palm. Seeing the surging energy of heaven and earth around Xiaoyang, the split cloud wolf couldn't help tightening his heart. Unexpectedly, Xiaoyang still had such means. If he really succeeded, I'm afraid the war would be really dangerous. The bright moon leads the stars. There was a long roar in the sky. Above the clouds, the bright moon suddenly burst out a burst of bright light. Then, the power of a moon fell from the sky like a bright meteor and landed on the body surface of the split cloud wolf. Suddenly, the breath of the split cloud wolf suddenly soared, and the exhausted fighting spirit in the body also began to recover rapidly. I saw the split cloud wolf look up to the sky again with a wolf roar. The endless power of the moon was like a waterfall like a star river, and was completely swallowed by it. Then, a terrible smell of destruction came from its mouth. The wolf roars for 9 days, and the 8 wastelands are broken. Die. At the moment when the split cloud wolf lowered his head, Xiaoyang saw a bright white light like a planet in his mouth. When he aimed at Xiaoyang's Buddha anger reincarnation, the bright light burst out suddenly. A dazzling light column burst out from his mouth, instantly smashed the Tiangang guard and blasted with Xiaoyang's Buddha anger reincarnation. In an instant, Xiaoyang's Buddha anger reincarnation was forcibly crushed by the light column. Xiaoyang's figure based on the void could not help being pushed back by this powerful force. The bright white light column also rushed forward all the way until Xiaoyang was tens of feet in front of him. Then he stopped slowly, but just like this, Xiaoyang was already exhausted. The devouring and refining of Huori behind him was really not enough, and his strength was not enough. All the devouring supplies were useless to Xiaoyang. Ha ha ha. Mankind. This is the end of you provoking my Yunlang. If you fight with me, you will be like an ant, but unfortunately, you are too arrogant. Don't think you can fight against a strong man far superior to you with some strength and means. Remember this. Don't provoke me in the next life. Ha ha ha. Human beings die. The split cloud wolf looked at Xiaoyang, who was at the end of his powerful crossbow, and felt refreshed. Today's anger must be washed with the blood of Xiaoyang and Luo Jin. The split cloud wolf screamed again, and the bright white light column in his mouth was suddenly shocked. The power on it was more terrible. The light column that had just stopped rushed forward again, and the Buddha's anger reincarnation is bound to be broken. In such a hurry, Xiaoyang breathed out a mouthful of turbid qi, looked at the approaching white light column, and said to Guyo in an almost pleading tone, "Elder Jiyu, I know you stick to your duty and will not help me defeat the enemy, but I have a request today. I hope you can agree." Jiyu was curious when he heard the speech. As long as he didn't violate his duty, he could borrow something. But the key is that I don't have anything to borrow. In desperation, Jiyu couldn't help asking Xiaoyang, "Tell me what you want to borrow. If you have, it doesn't matter if you borrow it as long as it doesn't violate my duty." Xiaoyang looked a little bright in his eyes when he heard the speech, and his heart was relieved. He was pale, and his face finally eased a little. "Sir, I want to borrow your bone spirit for a cold fire." With a slight change in his eyes, Jiyu couldn't help but make a sound in surprise, but even with another smile. "I almost forgot, but you still have the first big fighting skill, Buddha Anger Lotus. Hee, as long as you have strong enough different fire, don't say it's a human-level fighting skill, I'm afraid it's a higher-level fighting skill." Before the words fell, a dark white flame appeared in front of Xiaoyang. Seeing this, Xiaoyang thanked Jiyu in his heart, and then looked at nothingness and swallowing yang again. A big mouth, a fierce suction came from his mouth. Xiaoyang swallowed the nothingness into his mouth. The burning formula in his body worked quickly. In just a few breaths, all the heaven and earth energy around Xiaoyang was swallowed into his body by Xiaoyang. Drink. Buddha Anger Reincarnation, burst. Feeling the fighting spirit in his body, Xiaoyang's complexion gradually returned to ruddy. The palm of his right hand was shocked, and a surging fighting spirit burst out. After the black light column trembled for a while, it exploded from the end, and the white light column was forcibly bombarded into countless segments by the vast force. A moment later, a fierce heat wave burning the sky suddenly swept the world. This time, the split cloud wolf is a lot smarter. If he has suffered a loss once, he will not eat the second time. The huge wolf head roared up to the sky, and the endless power of the moon fell from the bright moon, and then was swallowed by the split cloud wolf. On one side, Xiaoyang also controlled the cold fire of bone spirit with one hand. He threw nothingness swallowing inflammation in the palm of his hand. His mind moved, and the strange fire in his body poured out fiercely. 4 groups of flames appeared in front of Xiaoyang. Bone spirit cold fire, nothingness swallowing inflammation, pure lotus demon fire, the last flame, emperor inflammation. This time, the Buddha Anger Lotus is bound to be the most powerful combination of Xiaoyang's fighting skills since he created the Buddha Anger Lotus. The top 3 in the list of different fires, the unpredictable Bonyu, the bone spirit cold fire, these 4 different fires will become Xiaoyang's most powerful killing move. Does this really work? You've never tried. Besides, is it really okay with your current internal condition? Suddenly, Huori's voice came from one side, which made Xiaoyang look a little. Holding such a huge force in his hand, Xiaoyang naturally felt incomparable pressure, and the fighting spirit refined by Xiaoyang earlier was not pure enough because of time. In this way, it was even more difficult for Xiaoyang to integrate different fires. Dare not have the slightest hesitation. Although Huori's words are true, this is the situation now. If Xiaoyang doesn't fight, there will be only a dead end, but his heart of Xiaoyang is more than that. However, there are more mysteries waiting for him to explore in the Yuanwu continent. How can Xiaoyang be willing to be here? Jiyu's duty and the pursuit of the black-robed man are all the questions in Xiaoyang's heart. Xiaoyang's most unwilling questions are whether he is the god's will or a conspiracy trap, and why the people in black are so familiar with him. Therefore, he must go on, and sooner or later he will get rid of the clouds and see the source of all that. Xiaoyang turned his hands over, then slapped them hard, and forcibly fused the nothingness swallowing inflammation in his hands with the cold fire of bone spirit. The collision of the 2 different fires made Xiaoyang's whole space a violent turbulence. The powerful force from the forced integration made Xiaoyang's tiger mouth crack a little. Before a trace of blood gushed out, it was quickly dried into a scar by the terrible high temperature. At this time, Xiaoyang didn't have the mind to pay attention to these. All the terrible soul forces poured out and tried to control the different fire in his hand and try his best to stabilize it at a balance point. The two different fires were gradually integrated by Xiaoyang. The strength of different fire makes Xiaoyang seem to be interested in the integration process. In addition, Years Say More Here, a friend's book, Dupo, is also very good, and years have also chased the legend of the universe. I hope you can like it. This video will end here.